Hi, everybody. It's me again, Charles Norman, Sports Solutions LLC. If you are a parent of a youth athlete, you simply cannot win. But I think it's okay. And so I want to walk through this and why you want to do it anyway. You want to put your kid in sports, and I think they can be successful if we do it the way we're trying to go down this path and do it. I want to tell you a little bit of story. So this past week, and I've done this a couple of times now, where I'm working with some other groups, third parties. I've got this cool software, Athletic SOS. I tell you guys about it all the time. Look down below. If you got a kid that's in high school that's trying to play sports, you absolutely want to use our software. We don't charge for it. Look down below. I give in the description, I give you a code, I give you instructions for how to use it. It's yours to use. Enjoy it. I've got a bunch of sponsors now. So that part is great. The software works really, really well. And I usually put a link down there that shows you how to use the software. But anyway, so what's happening right now is that I'm working with these third parties. And many times we make these deals, they're going to make a deal themselves, and the software is going to be part of the deal. It's part of the package that they're going to be offering for whatever they do. And there's a bunch of different companies that I work with that really do some cool stuff in the youth sports industry. And Athletic SOS is sort of the thing that gets them over the hump, because they're in a competitive arena. And if they can bring my software with it, and the software, like I told you guys before, the software that I give you guys is a version of Athletic SOS, but I've got a more robust version that I can use with a third party. Usually we do these Zoom calls, and then I'll do a demo of the software, and then I kind of get out of the way, right? Because they are going to make their deal, and they're saying, hey, you're going to get that too. It's going to come with it. And I've integrated in how they do their work with my software. Works really, really good for me. I don't have to do as much heavy lifting in selling the software as an individual piece. It works really well as part of an overall package. But anyway, so usually we do these Zoom calls. I do my demo and move on. But every now and then, it's been happening probably the last 4 months in a row, they've asked to meet in person. And so we end up, I do a 1-day turnaround. I don't like to go someplace and stay 3 or 4 days, and I'm just doing a demo of my software, and I'm not the key piece. So anyways, this past Monday, I flew out to where they wanted to meet. I get on the ground and I'm in a room. And so I want you to picture this, because this is really cool to me. So I'm sitting in the room, there's 6 of us, and 2 of us are doing demos. One person's doing the demo of what this other company is offering to this facility. This is a facility owner, right? So they own a space where the travel club programs and high schools, they come and use this facility as their anchor for the sport. So while we're sitting in this room, we're just sort of talking back and forth during the demo, before the demo, after the demo. And so I'm listening to them. So everybody in this room, except for me, played sports at a high level. I mean, a high level. Some of them had played, got to touch pros. None of them were superstars in any kind of way, but a couple had played at the pro level. Some had played pro overseas. All of them played at top tier colleges. So they kind of knew what they were doing. So I've got the facility owner who was a former professional player and took that and built out and used their relationships. One of the things I keep telling you guys about with your kids, use their relationship to build out this facility and to get clients for the facility. And that's the big piece. They've got clients, because I'm listening to everything, right? And then his lead trainer for the facility was in the room also, and then some of the people that I was working with. And so I'm listening to them. And so what I'm hearing them say is the problems they're having with the parents that are a little bit, think their kid is better than their kid really is, that is expecting the travel club programs or the facility owners or anybody they're paying money to, they're expecting to get them to the next level. At least give me a athletic scholarship for college, right? A couple of them had been former high school coaches, and they were talking about all the frustration for being a high school coach and what they had gone through with parents who thought their kid should be doing this while the coach is supposed to be in charge. And one of them happened to have been an athletic director at a high school. And then one of them had been a athletic director at a college. And so they're just telling all these stories back and forth, and I'm listening to them. And the thing that was bothering me was not so much that they were giving their stories, because this is the great stuff that I need to hear so that I can get you guys ready for what's coming and help you to prepare and position yourself to get your kid an athletic scholarship if that's what you want. But what bothered me a little bit about it was they were telling the story of me. I was the problem parent in their eyes. And I said, you know what the problem is, you guys, is that the parents don't know. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they don't know. And so they're doing the best job they can. And I get on parents I get on you guys' case. If you guys have heard any of my videos, I keep telling you guys you're not doing enough. I know you work every day. I know you're tired. I know, but you got to get your kids. You got to get them not only to go and practice when it's time to practice, but they got to work out away from practice, and they got to find a great trainer for them. And you're trying to find a trainer that fits who they are, so that they can play the sport. And you got to make sure that they're able to be the best version of themselves in their sport if they want to be successful. And then I'm telling you, okay, we're also going to tie that into who is your kid, and are they going to, what are you doing during the times that you guys are going to games? If it's travel club, if it's high school, you're going to these other areas, you're going to play someplace away from home. What are you doing at that time to make sure that who your kid is getting fed too? Who are they going to be away from the field, away from the competition? What else are they into? Are you finding out things for them to do there? And I know I exhaust you guys, right? It's just too much. You've got all these other responsibilities. The economy's bad. Your job, you don't know. People are getting laid off left and right. There's a lot of anxiety out there. And here I keep saying that. But I'm listening to them talk, and I'm hearing me. And I've told you guys my story, and I want to run through it real quick. My daughter, this is back in 2007, 2008. My daughter just hits her sophomore year. I'm trying to take her to play on a top travel club program. She gets invited. We go there. She does really, really well. They have a top team where their juniors and seniors usually play. And then they've got this other team that's just below it. And they're trying to bring a bunch of freshmen and sophomores on those teams. And then they're going to compete against people at that level. And so I'm ready almost to put my daughter on this team. It's really a great honor to be on this team, right? To get her there and all that stuff. And then I go to work, and then they decide to put us on furlough. And so furlough means I'm not getting the hours that I was getting. And I'm working for the government. So it really is, but I'm living at the edge, because we always do, right? I'm trying to do all this stuff for my family, and I make a decent salary. But when you take 10%, 15% away from your salary, it's a big hit. It's way bigger than everybody thinks, because your bills stay the same, and then your extras you can't do them the way you were before. And so you have to pull back. And so I'm going in there and I'm listening to the cost to do this for this summer and what I'm getting out of it. And because I think like an engineer, I'm a software person. So I'm listening to them talk, and it didn't make sense to me. And so I ended up moving my daughter, not putting on that great team, and everyone's telling me you have to do it. But I didn't have the money to do it. Now, I don't explain my situation to everybody in the world. Maybe they would have gave me a break on the price, but that's just not who I am. Maybe I should have asked that, but I didn't do it. And so we moved on, and we ended up going with another team, probably half the cost that we needed to be on, and everything worked out perfect. My daughter ended up getting an athletic scholarship, but my advantage is that her high school coach used to be a junior college coach, and so he's the one that kind of told me how you should approach this. And that's what Athletic SOS really is. I took my technical ability and created a program for you guys that kind of matches what this junior college coach, who had turned into a high school coach, doing a favor for the athletic director at the high school. I took what he taught me, and then I gave it to you guys. But here's the interesting part about that. That coach, that high school coach, got fired. I went, my daughter, her junior year, we went across the country with this new team that I was on, and we did great. We got every single girl on that travel club team an athletic scholarship, a D1 athletic scholarship. And so, interesting thing is, when we came back, her high school coach just got fired. The other parents had got the coach fired while we were gone. My daughter clearly was the best player on the team. They waited till we left town and did this. And these are people still friends with me. And I was so perplexed, because the other thing that had happened is I had learned enough from him. We were going through this with my daughter, and I'm keeping notes on everything. And I had wrote a program, the beginning of what Athletic SOS turns out to be now. It's much better now. But I had started working on that, and we were going to give it out to all the other parents, because a lot of them were behind my daughter by a year or two. And we never got to do it, because I couldn't get the database that he had for the colleges. So I couldn't finish it up. And I told them, I said, we were working on something for you guys, but they didn't care. They were more concerned about their daughters, their stats, and all this kind of stuff. And I don't want to get too far into that, but I was that parent, if you were looking at it through that travel club coach, that I didn't go to their program, to everybody in our community thinking, oh, he took his daughter way out. We ended up playing with some kids. They're about 3 or 4 hours away. And we were driving out there to do the practice. We didn't practice as much. They came our way a couple of times, and then they went on the road. And so everyone probably thought I was being arrogant. No one ever said anything to me that way. But as I'm listening to these guys talk, I'm going, I'm the person they're talking about. And all I was trying to do was the best I could at that moment and the best I could for my daughter. And so these are the kind of things where sometimes there's a miscommunication, but I want you to understand you can't win in their eyes, and they're not bad people. They're volunteering. They're putting their time out. Yes, some of them were getting paid for what they were doing, but they're doing the best they can too. And so sometimes there's just a missed opportunity, a missed connection. And so when I say you can't win, I don't mean you can't get your kid to where you're trying to get them to. What I mean is everybody's not going to understand why you're doing things the way you want to do it. And here's the other thing as a parent, you don't know if you've got it right. You won't know until your kid gets that offer and signs to go to that school and gets accepted and start, and they're on campus and they're on the team. And even then you don't know if you did it right, because are they going to get a chance to play? Is everything going to go right? You cannot control that to the best of you can do the best you can, and that's all you can do. You can just try to move around and maneuver. And so let's take it away from that. What do you do as a parent? How can you be successful anyway? And this is what I want to kind of talk about today. And so we are going to start from the beginning again. And I've done this before, and I'm going to knock this every single time I do one of these videos. I'm going to move more towards how do we make sure your kid leads a remarkable life. And part of that is being successful as a young athlete and working your way through, because the more successful your kid is, the more options and opportunities they're going to get, the more access they're going to get to some really cool stuff, and the better, I'm not going to say the better people they're going to meet, but the more forward-moving people they're going to meet, some of the kids, because the better you are at something, you get around a different set of people. It's not that you can't have fun and learn and find some really cool people at the rec level, let's say. But when you get to the higher levels, you're going to meet people, you're going to meet parents, people that push a little bit more, that have more access, that know more things than you do, because they have pushed the same way. The more successful you are in life, the people that you're going to meet are a completely different set of people than the people you know now. And that is the difference. And it's great when you can do that with your kids, because as an adult, it's much, much more difficult, right? You have a set of people around you. If you start to venture out and do something unusual, they don't like it. It makes everybody nervous. And so they treat you a little bit different. And you have to be willing to walk away from what you know to go do some of these other things. You'll be at parties and get-togethers and gatherings and family members and friends, and you guys, the things that you used to do, you used to go hunting and fishing and whatever you like to do before, you're going to get another set of people where you don't fit in with that old group. And it kind of bothers you, and it's uncomfortable, but it's something you have to do. But let's get back to the kids. So the one thing that I think everybody misses out is that early area, that 5 to 9. I always call that discovery. You guys have to try more sports. You have to find a sport that your kid walks into and it is a natural fit. I said this last week. I'm going to say it again this week, because that meeting really got me juiced up on what we're trying to do over here at Sports Solutions. So you want to find something that your kid just naturally fits. They go out there. It's just something that they got a feel for. Automatically. They're not really good at it yet, but you can see that they kind of, and you can see that if your kid is playing a sport where they don't have a natural feel, because you can see the other kids that do have it. You can go out there, and I don't just mean the kid's more athletic, right? It's an athletic sport. Baseball, basketball, football, soccer, whatever it is. It's an athletic sport. Or it's a technical sport, and this kid just has a feel for it. Maybe it's golf, maybe it's baseball, maybe it's archery. I don't know, whatever they're doing, but they just kind of have a feel for it. You can see it early on, and other kids can catch up through hard work, and maybe your kid's a hard worker and they can fit in there. But if you can find that sport where your kid has a natural feel for it, it's amazing. And so that's one of the other reasons for you to get Athletic SOS. Even if you have younger kids, you don't have a high school kid yet, go ahead and get it anyway, because you're going to see that list of sports. Go and try those out. So that's the first phase to me. You want them to have 2 sports by the time they hit junior high. One they have a natural fit for, and the other is maybe a sport they just love, and that the other kids in the neighborhood are participating in, so they can at least stay in that world with them. And maybe one, it's a winter sport, and one is a spring sport, or a fall sport, a winter sport and a spring sport. But they want to have about at least 2 that they can focus on when they get to junior high, and that's that 10 to 12-year-old range. And so what we want to do there is we're into focus mode, especially for the one where they are a natural. Now you want to get them a better coach, a better trainer. You want to get them in a better program if you can. And what you're trying to do there is now is where we're starting to take their skill set, who they are as a person, and we're trying to get a trainer and somebody that's going to help them pull that out of themselves, right? And so the other thing you're trying to do there is you're looking at where would they be if they were going to play in college? What position would that be? What angle would that be? What would they be doing at the college level? I know we haven't even hit high school yet. I get that. We're trying to get to high school, but if you got them in a natural sport for them, then they should be okay in high school. Now, the other thing is size, height. Wait, what sport is this? Are they going to be able to play at the high school level, let alone the college level? If not, we need to look at something else where they can get there, or we're going to look at maybe we're going to go play at a lower level, great colleges at the lower levels, but we're also going to be a dual sport kid. So we want to really kind of emphasize both of those sports as we go into high school and as we go into try to get an athletic scholarship. And so that's where we're at now. We're in focus mode. And focus means I got to learn the skill set. I got to learn what I do best. I got to learn who I am, who your kid is, how they participate in sports, and you want to put them in the right position. This is where you're going to get what I call the most important piece for you as a parent. You're going to have to be a little unreasonable. And so last week we talked about your athlete being a little delusional, not too much, but it's got to be there. You're going to have to be a little unreasonable. You're going to have to be willing to move your kid from a trainer to a club team, to a whatever. You need to move around just a little bit. Now, don't be a jerk about it. Don't get out there and make demands from anybody, but you got to see what you see. And so your kid should be understanding, but you also, and here's the biggest piece of this to me, you got to know your kid. Are they having fun? Is this something they want to be doing? Is this the way they want to approach this? And this is the tricky piece for you, because your responsibility is to understand that that's a kid. And you're trying to get them in a position where they can feed themselves and clothe themselves and house themselves in the future. It's a tough world you're in, dear parent. This is why you can't win. No matter what you do, it could go south, but you have to do it anyway. And so now, who is my kid? Do I know my kid? What other interests do they have? Because remember, we're going to try to get them going good in sports because it's going to open a lot of doors for them. But we're also trying to find out who our kid is. So as we go through the sports journey, that we're also doing all this other cool stuff that fits in with what they like to do. Do you know your kid? Do you see what your kid is doing when you're not around? And one of the things I know with kids is that every time we see them and they look like they're idle or they're doing something we don't think is productive, we're on their case. But that's who they are. What they're doing when you're not looking, when they're not, don't have schoolwork, when they're just hanging out, and it may look like it's a waste of time. Maybe they like to read. Maybe they're playing around with some crystals or rocks, or they are into, they want to go. You got to find out whatever it is that makes them them, and then you've got to let them go do that. You've got to go and support that, and you got to find out the friends that they have like that, and you're going to get their friends to go with them, or you're going to go with them with their friends. You're going to go find this stuff for them and go, hey, there's a really cool version of this thing over at XYZ. After we come for practice, hey, why don't we run over there and see? Oh, let's go over here and get you some more equipment for that. And so you're going to start building on their interest and who they are, and this is going to make a huge difference for them because it's going to round them out. Because one of the problems is when you're a kid playing sports, you kind of lose your childhood a little bit. You're going to practice, you're going to games, you're trying to try out for different things, and you're only around a lot of athletes. And so you miss just being able to walk through your neighborhood, just to chill out on a Saturday morning after you've done whatever your chores are around the house, and you've got some friends in the neighborhood, or you got some friends you're on the phone with. And nowadays they got friends across the world, right, that they're interested, they're trying to do things. Those kids actually have a pretty good childhood, but it doesn't give them access to a lot of things that your kid's going to get just being an athlete, just moving around, just the people that they're around. So that's a big piece for you. And then when we get to high school, we're in positioning mode. From the 9th grade all the way through the 12th grade, we're just in positioning. And now we know who our kid is. We've got them interested in some things outside of sports, but also we've helped them really level themselves as an athlete. And so now we're navigating, we're positioning ourselves to get to the varsity team, because we try to get this athletic scholarship if we can, because we want to help them pay for something, pay for school when they come out. Debt is the #1 enemy of most people, because we don't know how to handle it. It's not taught in school at all. And we end up taking on this debt, and we end up coming through a world where we're trying to get a job. And that's not good enough anymore. And so if we've done this right from 5-year-old all the way up to the 13-year-old when they hit high school, if we've done it right, then our kid understands that there's more to it than just coming out, doing everything by the book and getting the job. We're going to have to do some more. And your kid knows how to do more now, because remember, they're a student, they're an athlete, and their interests outside of those two things are something they're able to pursue too. And they've met some really cool people along the way. And so they have some social netting to it. To me, sports is the key to a remarkable life. And so not so much a successful life. That's something that I always thought about when I was growing up from my parents and everyone. You wanted to have a successful life, which means you had enough money to do things a little bit extra on top of just living life. And so you were able to do things that way. That was my mantra as I was growing up and things that I was trying to do. And that meant getting a good job, be perfectly honest with you. It was not entrepreneurial. It was not, that was kind of risky. But what it was, and it wasn't until I got a little bit older and I started to see people that I knew that were passing away, and I started reading their obituary, or I started talking to people that were a little bit older. Some people have some pretty remarkable lives on how they got where they want to be, and that's what I want for your kids, and that's where I think they have to be. We already went through that period. 2020 was the demarcation line. We already went through hey, here is the plan for America. In fact, I'm in America. So one of the things I think I've realized here is that the American dream was kind of overtaken. It was the dream of America originally. People were coming here because of opportunity. There was no guarantee of anything. So you left where you came from to come here because that was the dream, is that you could go, here was an opportunity for you. And I think somebody, probably Madison Avenue, some advertising person, or maybe it was some government official, twisted it to make the American dream was the family, the husband, the wife, the 2 kids, the house with the white picket fence and the great job and the car in the driveway and taking vacations. That became the American dream. But it was the dream of America before that. And I think that's what we're going back to. I think the dream of America is you can be anything, anywhere, anytime, but you're going to have to put extra work. Those people that came over the dream of America, they left where they came. Maybe the voyage was really a very difficult voyage. They got here with nothing but whatever they had in their pocket, and they had to make it work. That's what we're going back to. And that's the exciting part about this thing. And you need to have both. And so they didn't have both. They didn't have anything, so that made you have to figure it out. And we never hear about the people that didn't make it, the people that got and went back because they couldn't cut it. And things didn't go their way. I'm not going to say they couldn't cut it. Things happen in life. And sometimes you have to go back. But the people that made it, those are the stories that get told, right? And so the same thing. And then I think we went to that period. I'm going to say somewhere around the 60s, 1960s until the 2020. We really were in a mode where this is the plan. And we had people working 2, 3, 4 jobs that felt embarrassed because they weren't making enough money, but they were working their butts off and trying to have a family, and everything just felt like it wasn't going. And then we got that reset. 2020 was the reset. So I want you guys to take advantage of it. I want your kids moving forward to understand that they are in a world where they can do and be anything they want, but they got to do double duty. And so I want to finish this one off with the parents. You guys have the same opportunities, same thing for your kids. You're going to have to do a little bit more. I just told you all the stuff you got to do with your kids, and you're already going, I got 2, 3 kids. This is going to be a nightmare. And it may be. But as you're going through this with your kid, you start looking around. What else do you want to do? Well, who are you? Yeah, you're doing all this other stuff too. And get prepared. As your kids get a little bit older, they need you less and less in their daily activities. You need to start reaching out and figuring out what you're going to do next too, and start building on top of that. You're not going to get away with, and I really believe this, as far as retirement and being able to move forward in life, I think we're going to be working forever in order to make ends meet. Everything is going up too fast. It's happening too fast. And then I know too many people that are very skilled, that went to school, that are really smart people that are losing their jobs. And these are people in the technical field I just happen to know. And so they are brilliant people. And I keep telling them, I go, okay, what are you going to do about it? You need to look for a job. Obviously, you got to eat. They got families and all that. But what else are you going to do? What else do you see? What excites you? Let's start working on that stuff. And so I'm having fun doing that too. And then I'm showing them what I'm doing, and they're going, okay, that's pretty cool, but I don't have anything like that. Well, then find somebody that does and go work with them. Go help them. I have people that help me out with the software now. I can't do the software by myself, and I'm taking a chance. I'm giving them some access. And they're building stuff for me, which it brings me to the last point of this video. We've added a really cool program that I'm going to attach a little bit to Athletic SOS. That's why I want you guys with younger kids to go ahead and sign up for it. I know you're not ready for your kid to get an athletic scholarship right now. You're not in that world right now. But we're bringing some cool stuff about what I've just talked about in this whole video. How do you find other things to do outside? How do you find what sport? How do you get a chance to try out these other sports? Well, we built something that we think is going to help us do that. I've got to get some more people to put some opportunities for you guys in there, and then I'm going to release it by the beginning of 2025. So sometime in January 2025, it will be available. There won't be a lot in there as we start out, but I'm working on that right now. And so we're going to go. I'm on your side. I started this as a parent. I didn't start as a coach. I didn't play in high school. I didn't play in college. Obviously, I wasn't a coach. I wasn't an athletic director. I wasn't any of those things. I did coach my daughter when she was younger, and I coached my son when he was younger. And he works with me now. But I'm not that person. I'm not an expert. I'm not a coach. I can't tell you what's right or wrong. I don't know all these different sports, but I do know this. Sports will change your life if you work it the right way. So you cannot win in the eyes of these other people because they're seeing you as a difficult person, maybe a little bit. So we just want to be a little unreasonable. That's really the key to this thing. And I want your kids to be a little delusional on their abilities and where they're going and what they're going to do in the world. I want both of those mixes go, and then we're going to change this whole thing. We're on our way. I'm feeling very confident about as we move through 2024. Don't forget that box hockey game. The guy said some of you guys are buying the product and they're using the code so he could tell. So he did email me and tell me, hey, we've got some sales from your people. So that's cool too. I think that's the best game you can get if you have a young kid playing sports. And if you got a bunch of kids, that one product will satisfy all of them. They'll love it. And then the sweatshirts, you guys I sold out the first batch. I'm making another order now. And so these are cool things. And then I'll get this stuff out to you as we move forward. I don't want to focus on that because I've been trying to focus on the software, but we're ready to move. We're going to change youth sports. We're going to make it exciting. We're going to make it, we're going to leverage it to make sure your kids have a remarkable life. That's our goal. So I hope you guys will rock with me. And then I'll let you guys know. I'm sure I'll be making an announcement early in 2025 on what the software is. And I'll do a video where I'm just showing the software. All right, you guys, as always, best of luck to you. I'm so glad I went to that meeting and I stayed quiet and I listened in. These are great guys. The business relationship is rock solid now. They will have access to our version of Athletic SOS, but it was just good to sit in that room and realize I was the problem parent, and I wasn't even trying to be a problem parent. It's just part of the routine of being a parent. And so don't feel bad about anything. Don't overthink it. We'll walk through it step by step again of what it looks like, what you should be trying to do. And we're going to get your kid to where you want to be. And you're going to be able to relax and let your kid play sports and let sports be a part of what they're doing without any kind of anxiety on your part. All right, guys, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.